This is awesome. Do you have any idea what I'm about to show you? Better yet, what does this big pile of stuff in front of me have anything to do with the outdoors? Oh boy, this looks like a mess. Works good though. Welcome to my basement. So, winter is upon us. Well, at least it is at the time of I film this video. So, what you see here is the winter sleep system. I'll show you how this works. Works pretty good. As winter draws upon us, what begins to happen is people tend to go car camping more because it's really hard to backpack with the snow on the ground. And so this gives you a method of winter camping where you don't have to worry about all the wet gear as much, and it'll still keep you warm. As a preface, I learned this system from someone who knew someone at NASA. And he taught it to me. I have used it. I do know that this works in the winter in very cold weather. I was at about 8,000 feet when I used this. It kept me very warm. In fact, I was on a deck that was elevated, so there's a breeze underneath, which made it even colder, and it still worked. So, with that, let me explain how this functions. As you can see, this is kind of a burrito effect, and so what we've got is obviously I've got the sheet right here. This is a sheet that I picked this up at a camping store when I bought a bigger tent. But really, you could go get painter's plastic from Home Depot. This is about a 10 by 12. As I open this up, what you'll find is I've got a layered system going on. I have, obviously, the newspaper up on the top right here. Look at that. Ribeye steak, $5.99. Anyway, I've got newspaper on top, and then I've got one of those eggshell foam crate sleeping pads below that, and then in between here what I've got is my sleeping bag, another eggshell foam crate. Okay, so one word of caution with all this winter sleep system stuff. The foam that you have to use is closed cell foam. I can crush this with my hands and it's breathable. In other words, moisture will pass through these layers. If you use closed cell foam, here's an example of closed cell foam. It's very thin, and I can pour water on this and it would just sit there. The moisture has to be able to travel through the foam to freeze to the paper. That's the whole point. If you use a closed cell foam like the one I just showed you, instead of this, that moisture, you'll freeze from your own body moisture. So remember, open cell foam is typically the eggshell crate type, and you can squish it, you can compress it a lot. Closed cell foam doesn't compress very well. Also, don't use the blow-up air mattresses. The blow-up air mattresses are closed, and if you don't know that blow-up air mattresses don't let moisture pass through them, you probably should not be camping at all. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, there you go. And then below that, more newspaper. That's it. So, how does this work? For anyone who's built houses, you know that on the outside of the plywood you put on Tyvek, well, that's the moisture barrier, and that's what the plastic is doing. It's the moisture barrier. The newspaper is the moisture absorber. As you sleep in this cocoon, your moisture is going to get driven through those eggshell crates, and then it will hit the newspaper. When it hits the newspaper, if it's below freezing outside, it'll freeze instantly. If you're above freezing, well, there won't be snow on the ground and you probably won't need this. It keeps you really warm. When I did it, what I found out is I ended up lifting up this bottom layer, and there was a layer of snow all on the bottom, and where that snow had come from was my moisture. My body moisture was driving through those layers over the course of the evening, And when I woke up in the morning, I had a layer of snow on the bottom, and I had a layer of snow on the top. Sure enough, my body heat was driving that temperature difference, and that's what created the snow. It was actually my own body moisture. So, does it work? Yes, it works good. I used it, and I tested it out at a cabin, slept on the deck in case I could have a problem. I could go inside the cabin. I recommend you do the same thing if it makes you nervous. I'm very comfortable with this now. I would take this car camping in the winter, pull over, and have some fun. The benefits of this is that you don't have to dry out wet tent gear. That always sucks. A couple things to keep in mind if you do this is that you'll want to start early looking for those eggshell foam sleeping pads. They can get kind of expensive. I don't know why. I bought these at thrift stores. They were each $5. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is you'll want to buy this plastic larger than your sleeping system. What you'll see here is I've got a big 10 by 12, and the reason for that is that I can take this seam and I can dig a trench and bury that seam in the snow, and then I crawl in here where my head is. And then when I'm sleeping, I've got this nice pocket where my head sits. And then if it snows, well, I don't care if it snows, it's just more insulation. Same thing on the bottom. You'll notice I got this big run out on the bottom. I can bury that in snow, and then I'm done. I was told by the gentleman who taught me this that he'll actually take multiple individuals and he'll get a huge sheet, 40 feet long, fold it in half and stuff everybody in, and then just bury the sides. And he said it worked really good. In fact, he said he did this in his backyard because he didn't think it would work either, and he woke up with a foot of snow on top of himself. He said he never slept so good in a long time. Don't know what that says about his relationship with his spouse, but I won't go into that. Anyhow, winter sleeping system works good for car camping. I would not backpack with this. I would definitely look for an alternative method. The foam is bulky, it's heavy, but if I was car camping, I wouldn't do tent camping. I'd probably just do this because, I can dry a sheet of plastic really easy and I don't care. Plastic's cheap, but taking care of a big old wet tent, it's going to get wet. You're on the snow. Your body heat's going to warm the base of your tent, so you're kind of stuck with that. Anyhow, hope this is beneficial. In my neck of the woods, winter is drawing near, so prepare accordingly. The winter sleeping system: plastic, newspaper, foam, sleeping bag, foam, newspaper, plastic. And while you're at it, you can find out what's on sale at your local grocery store. Who knew?